Cyber Dragons have a new overhaul. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel Archetypes explains Cyber Dragons. As you know, chat, obviously, I'm a big fan of Cyber Dragons. So I'm kinda curious on how the deck looks like in a different game, basically. Rush Duels. We just watched a video about the rules. So I kinda get the idea, even though I haven't tried it. I kinda want to see what a Cyber Dragon deck looks like in there. So yeah, let's watch.
Hello everyone, Golden Nova here. Our coverage of Rush continues with a throwback to a theme we've already covered on the channel, and one that our companion game decided to bring into their roster. You might remember.
So you are a machine. My body is a machine that turns bodies into machines. That turns those machines into my body? Question mark?
Remember, I've got a big video on Cyber Dragons, a theme I hold close to my heart as my namesake signature theme.
Wow,
whose flagship card had an immense impact on the game itself. It was so popular that it's gotten waves upon waves of support over the years, and now it's time for Rush to get a chance to experience the joy of special summoning a monster with just a few.
It's the same. It's not the same art, right? They just remade it, but made it basically the same.
Too many levels. So rush on over to the weapons lab and check out the new modules we've got in place, because it's time for Rush Cyber Dragons Explained.
Alright. It's zoomed in. No, it's not zoomed in. It has little differences. A few differences.
Today's episode is possible thanks to viewers like you, as well as my patrons.
Me?
If you like what I do here, I would super appreciate it if you'd subscribe to help us reach another wonderful milestone video. And if you want to support me directly while getting some awesome benefits, check out the link to my Patreon in the description below. So, what's the deal with Cyber Dragons? Well, they're a series of light machine monsters, unless we dip into the Chimera Tech line, which swerves hard into dark attribute territory. But for any more information,
they made Over Dragon like different. This art looks really cool.
On that, you'll have to watch the original video. In fact, you'll also need to watch it if you want to learn more about base Cyber Dragon, Proto Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dragon Zhuai, Cyber Kirin, Cyber Twin Dragon, Cyber End Dragon, and Power Bond, as all of them work more or less the same as they do in the base game, though no.
Let's read.
Video. In fact, you'll also need to watch it if you want to learn more about base Cyber Dragon.
If you support and control some monster, you can special summon this card from your hand face up on the field. Requirement none, effect none. Okay.
Proto Cyber
Requirement none. Effect this card names becomes Cyber Dragon. Okay.
Dragon, Cyber Dragon.
This card names becomes Cyber Dragon while in graveyard. Reveal one spell card in your hand. This turn, this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon. Oh, what? I have to reveal a card for this to become a Cyber Dragon on the field? Interesting. And it gains attack.
Okay. Why? Cyber Kirin.
Cyber Kirin none. Set this card from the field to the graveyard. This turn you take no effect damage. This card is so bad, dude. I guess it is for Power Bond, but still.
Cyber Twin.
Cyber Dragon, requirement none. You can take twice per turn. It's the same, right?
Cyber End Dragon.
The art looks really cool. This card inflicts piercing damage. The attack of the attacking monster. Yeah, piercing damage. If it's attacks a defense position monster. Okay. We got this.
Dragon and Power Bond.
Oh, Power Bond is legend. Power Bond is legend. I see. Hey, hello, Gara. So I've been watching your videos on Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything most about. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed your stay. They work the same. Kirin sounds worse since Power Bond is legend. Fusion summon a machine monster by sending monster from your hand and or field to the graveyard as material. That monster gains attack equal to its original attack. Take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect during the end phase. It's the same, right? Am I missing something? Yeah, it's the same, right? Yeah, I think it's the same. Except that it's a legend, so you can only use one. You can only have one in your deck. Well, it's basically like limiting it, but I feel like limiting cards and putting it like you cannot change. If it's a lane, you cannot change the limitation. No, but you can only have one, right? You only have one. But now you can have one of each, one one monster and one spell. I don't know. It's like it's gonna be hard to get used to it. But sure.
All of them work more or less the same as they do in the base game, though notably, Power Bond in Rush is a legend card. And big shout out to Cyber Kieran, as their role to help blunt the damage from Power Bond is a lot more palatable here when the normal summon you use to bring it out isn't the only one you have that turn. However, they're not the only imports from the base game, so let's go over a few of them that were changed up just a bit so they were compatible with the Rush format.
Okay. Thank you, Gara.
Cyber Dragon Naxter no longer.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of graveyard recovery, so you can recycle your 1 legend cards. Interesting.
Monster to special summon itself from the hand, but rather you do that to activate its on-field effect. This allows its name to become Cyber Dragon while on the field, not the graveyard, but then special summons an appropriate monster from the grave. It's not a big change, but some of these are pretty important ones. Namely the fact that this no longer counts as Cyber Dragon in the grave, something we'll see across all the Rush Cyber Dragon cards because while the game does have continuous effects, they even label them helpfully, cards in the graveyard don't really have any effects. Chimera Tech Over Dragon no longer gets rid of every other card you control on summon, so it plays nice with the neighbors, but the biggest change is probably with Cybernetic Overflow. The base card could banish any number of differently leveled Cyber Dragons from your grave to destroy a card for each one banished, but instead, now it only triggers when an opponent normal summons, not whenever you want, puts the Cyber Dragons on the bottom of your deck instead of banishing them, only lets you return 2, and only destroys 2 cards. So I've got
what? They make this card so weird. I'm guessing you play Cyber Dragons in masterduel? Yes, it's one of my favorite decks. It's my pet deck, I guess.
Say, in Rush, that's still pretty impressive removal, so it's hard to be mad about the much lower ceiling. Overall, if you're familiar with the originals, you're not going to get too tripped up with the Rush versions of them. You'll just have to keep in mind that some of the abilities have been limited to be compatible with how Rush functions, or at least how it functions now. Only time will tell if they decide to add in the banishment. Basically, they're the only functional erratas that I agree with, so chalk that up to another miracle that Rush Duels has performed. Okay, with that—
Interesting. You play dinosaurs? I have a few viewers who play dinosaurs. I like that how passionate like a lot of dinosaur players are. I really like that.
Brief aside about what we can expect from the old Cyber Dragons. Now,
what is this? Where are these cards? Dr. Robotnik sure has been PC.
It's time to see what the new cards can do. Cyber Serpent is a level 1 monster with 0 attack and defense, with an effect you can activate if you have another light attribute machine type monster on your field face up. You mill 3 cards from your deck, and if 2 or more of those cards were light machine monsters, you get to draw a card. Churning through your deck is very important in this thing. So Serpent letting you mulch a bunch of cards at once with the potential for a draw is kinda wild. The only rough thing about it is that it doesn't really stand up in a fight. Okay, that's one rough thing about it. The other is that it looks easily like the most unhinged Cyber card. Serpent is about to drag me into the dark unknown after I've gathered some pages. This thing is creepy. Cyber Coatl is a level 3 monster with 500 attack and 1200 defense, whose effect requires you to have no other monster on your field. You excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can special summon a level 5 machine monster from among them face up to your field.
What happened to Cyber Dragons? we mill, we excavate, we mill and we excavate in Cyber Dragons. That sounds like a crazy concept to me. Interesting. Dino players are dedicated, I respect them. I don't like Misk though. True. You watch G-Fan's video on why Saints deck makes sense? Yes, I watched it. Well, I don't know. The cards look really cool. Interesting.
Using any remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. As a lead card, this isn't half bad. Sometimes you'll hit a free card, but unless we get any way to stack our deck, we aren't exactly going to be benefiting from this consistently. But hey, if things go wrong, you can just swap out Coatl with a bigger monster by using it as tribute fodder. No harm, no foul. But if you're lucky, your game plan will get kicked into full throttle. Or should I say, full Coatl. Cyber Basilisk is a level 4 monster with 1000 attack and 1300 defense, whose effect requires you to have a level 5 or higher machine monster face up on your field. This effect has you choosing a face up monster on your opponent's field and changing it to face down defense position. Then, if you control a face up level 8 or higher machine type fusion monster, you can destroy the chosen monster. So you—
Dude, what? Those requirements don't mean— those requirements don't mean anything, because you can normal summon whatever, right? You can summon everything you want from your hand. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. It's weird that German machines now have cards called Cordon. So true. If you think those Cyber Dragons are changed, wait until you see the new fusions. Oh my god, this— I cannot imagine these cards in Masters. Like, what they would be like ass, right? But I feel like they make sense here in this game. I don't know. I actually have no point of reference. I don't know how strong like our decks are. I'm just like using this as a way to learn how different the Rush Duels is. Interesting. In Rush, there are no archetypes, so they don't specify Cyber Dragon. Wait, you're right. They say light machine, right? Light machine monsters, or just machines, fusion stuff.
You get some additional removal to go along with your big payoffs, and by making sure the monster is face down beforehand, it helps get rid of any pesky effects that might keep you from doing that. Or if you lack a big machine fusion, you can just use it with regular big machines to make the monster easier to run over. As long as you've got a big monster, this is their perfect companion. Though with a Basilisk, that means instead of getting stoned with a friend, you're stoning others with your friends. Cyber Griffin is a level 4 monster with 1200 attack and 1300 defense, whose effect requires you to send a card from your hand to the grave. That effect chooses a face-up level 5 or higher machine type monster on your field, and that turn, that monster can be destroyed by your opponent's trap card effects. And if that monster is like attribute, you draw a card. So for machine decks in general—
I like this. I like this. Just summon the big boy, and yeah. I guess trap cards are really prevalent in this, so interesting. Does this channel have a Red Eyes video? I hear it's strong in Rush Duels. We can check it later. I heard that recently about Red Eyes in Rush Duels. So we can look it up later. Technically, there are not archetypes in Master Duel. That is why cards have mentioned name of the archetype, like Stardust, instead of saying search from archetype. Interesting. But like a lot of cards are like a lot of the other cards were named Cyber Dragons, where they were on the field or graveyard or something. No, was it? I don't remember. No, in the field.
In general, you get a way to help mitigate your opponent's trap card interaction, with the additional bonus of making up for the discard in light decks. You know,
there is no quick plays or spell. Quick play monsters or spells, so traps are the only interactions. Oh, this is what Yugiboomers want. What the hell?
Like Cyber Dragons. In that case, you don't lose any hand advantage, you dig for more combo pieces, and you set up your grave. It's a win all around. But I'd avoid taking a look at their history of TV sitcoms. The Griffins have a bit of a polarizing history.
What?
The Cyber Processor is a level 5 monster with 1500 attack and 1600 defense, and if you have a face-up machine type monster on your field, you can special summon this card from your hand face up to your field. Its effect requires you to send one other card from your field to the grave, and that effect makes this card's name Cyber Dragon for the turn. Then you can special summon a Cyber Dragon from your grave face up to your field. So hey,
if you have a face-up machine monster on your field, you can special summon this card from your hand face up to your field. Your opponent has a card, right? Then you can special summon a Cyber Dragon and then special summon this, and then send one card from the field to the graveyard, which I assume can be this. Send other cards, so it could be the Cyber Dragon that you already summoned. I don't know. This turn, this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon. Then you can special summon one Cyber Dragon from your graveyard. Wait, you can send a Cyber Dragon that you already had in there, right? So then you can special summon that Cyber Dragon, and this is also Cyber Dragon, so you can fuse them. They are both level 5. If there was Xyz, you could get stuff. You could get Nova. Interesting. I should try Cyber Dragons. I run Blue Eyes as second deck, but other people. I mean, what they're I mean, I don't know. Isn't Blue Eyes better than Cyber Dragons in general? I don't know if like in Rush Duels, but in you know, in the TCG and in Master Duel, I don't know about Duel Links.
Hey, you can get base Cyber Dragon back. That's pretty useful, especially because you can send any card to activate this effect, not just other monsters. So any spell or trap cards that aren't pulling their weight can be converted into a pretty beefy body, which is more than I can say for Cyber Processor itself. This looks like what happens if you leave Cyber Dragon out in the sun for too long. Why that snake so whoopy?
Oh yeah, it's like melting or something, right? That's so funny.
Cyber Dragon Roquette is a level 8 monster with 2100 attack and defense, and you can tribute summon this card in attack position by tributing a light attribute machine type monster. Its effect requires you to send the top card of your deck to the grave, which makes this card's name become Cyber Dragon for the turn. Then, you can make a face-up monster on your field gain 500 attack until the end of the turn. So it turns out, Roquette is German for rocket, which lines up with the sweet fins and engine this guy is rocking. Though I suppose the more relevant thing is that there's a number of Cyber Dragon monsters with a German naming convention, so it's continuing that legacy. The fact that you can tribute summon this with only a single tiny monster that we've talked about previously means it's very easy to deploy, and makes for the perfect pivot after you've used the effective cards like Coatl and Griffin. And a 500 point boost ain't nothing to sneeze at either. Remember, we still have access to monsters like Cyber Twin and End Dragon, so we have some pretty good vessels for the extra oomph. But I feel like we can do better than this. I mean, seriously? Copying Seto Kaiba? The Blue Eyes Jet was funny, but no one was asking for the Cyber Jet.
I like that. I love what you said about the other one. The processor, they overclocked it to mine bitcoins. That is so funny. Okay, bye bye, G73DZ. Thank you so much for joining the stream. See you next time.
Cyber Assault Dragon is a level 8 monster with 2400 attack and 1800 defense, and you can tribute summon this card in attack position by tributing a face-up Cyber Dragon, which is something our next two cards can do as well. Though because it only works on Cyber Dragon, it is admittedly more narrow than what Roquette can do.
No, but there is a lot of cards that are treated as Cyber Dragon, right? So that's kind of the point of the deck, right?
Its requirements has you placing a Cyber Dragon from your grave on top of your deck, which destroys a face-up level 8 or lower monster with 2400 or more attack on your opponent's field. Ah, clever, clever. It seems they've snuck in a retrain of an original card right under our noses.
Oh, he's a laser, right?
Dragon is doing a very big callback to Cyber Laser Dragon. Easily one of the worst pieces of Cyber Dragon support in the game, whose effect works basically identically to Assault Dragons. But Laser was bad because you had to spend 2 Cyber Dragons.
Yeah, you need to do this. You basically were doing a ritual summon, but specific for Cyber Dragons. Now, this card, you just summon it. Yeah, you just summon it.
And a spell card to summon this, and it didn't even live in your extra deck. Assault Dragon, thankfully, does not have that baggage. So does that make it any better? Well, under most circumstances, it's able to deal with any monster it can't normally deal with in battle, which is sweet. The level 8 cap is probably meant to keep this from being an answer to big boss monsters like Maximums or Fusion monsters, which I can't complain about too much. In this context, Assault Dragon is a nifty problem solver should you need it, and it's easy to deploy when you do. And bonus, its effect sets up a guaranteed Coatl resolution, kind of. It's a phenomenal upgrade to the original. I just hope you didn't invest too heavily in photon generator units all this time, hoping they would eventually spike in price, because those are going in the garbage.
Wow.
Cyber Search Dragon is a level 8 monster with 2400 attack and...
Oh, this looks so weird! I love it! I love this, dude! What? I love this design. Is this the retrain or for the barrier? Cyber Barrier Dragon, I think it's called.
100 defense, and during your main phase in which you normal or special summon to this card, you can place a card from your hand on top of your deck to special summon a Cyber Dragon from your graveyard face up to your field. And since you can tribute a single Cyber Dragon to summon this, you probably have one in there that you can grab. Notably, this also helps you set up Coatl, though I am recently reminded that you can only activate that card while it's alone on the field, so
it's
not
completely
quite
new.
as plug and play as it might seem on the surface. Still, Search Dragon helps keep Cyber Dragons on the field, which will be mighty helpful in ensuring our fusion spells have the right targets.
Alright, see you later, Gara. See you later. Thank you for coming. It's not a retrain of barrier, even though there is one. Oh, I can't wait.
Not to mention you won't have to go around searching for more of them.
Oh, ha 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 ha.
Cyber Stealth Dragon is a level 8 monster with 2500 attack and 800 defense, who has a continuous effect. If Cyber Dragon is in your grave, this card gains 2000 defense and can be destroyed by your opponent's monster effects. Like how Assault Dragon is a reimagining of Laser Dragon, Stealth Dragon takes some cues from Barrier Dragon, which is somehow even worse than Laser Dragon. It also required a secondary card and Cyber Dragon's tribute to summon it, and while it had a massive defense pool, its ability to negate attacks only triggered when it was in attack position. And having an 800 attack monster in attack position that we spent so many resources on getting is a terrible idea! But now, you don't have to worry about that. Instead, Stealth comes with a cheap tribute summon requirement, monster effect destruction protection, and an actually decent attack stat, as well as the same defense should you have the Cyber Dragon in your graveyard. This makes it a sturdy attacker in lieu of more potent boss threats, and when combined with Griffin's trap card protection, your opponent's going to have to commit something really big or really specific when it comes to taking down Stealth. Though, granted, you will have to find it first, though. I think a large shiny metallic snake's not exactly going to be that difficult to hunt down.
Interesting.
I'm thinking Stealth might not actually be its greatest attribute. Alright, that does it for the main deck monsters.
Oh my god, what is this?
Fusions. Cyber Rush Dragon is a level 8 monster with 2800 attack and 2100 defense, requiring 2 Cyber Dragons as material. Its effect requires your opponent to have a monster on the field, which has you drawing cards until you have 5 in hand. Then, send 4 cards from your hand to the graveyard. Also, you can special summon a machine-type monster from your hand face up to your field. Losing your whole hand might feel like a huge cost to just summon one monster, but remember, this is Rush. Next turn, you'll draw a full grip of 5, and it'll be like it never ran out of cards. Not only can this help you fill up your grave with useful monsters, not only can this help get your bigger Cyber Dragons into play, this can be used to splash with other machine support to utilize their power fairly easily. Cyber Twin Dragon still has Rush beat in terms of raw damage output, but if dealing damage isn't a priority, then you can always count on the utility and reliability of this Rush delivery.
It has the same stats as Cyber Twin Dragon. You're so right. You're so right. It has the same, again, right? Cyber Dragon plus Cyber Dragon. That's so very interesting. I don't like the effect though. I guess it's good in the context of Rush. I don't know. I actually don't know. This doesn't sound good. No double attack. Yeah, I mean, it's completely different effect, which I don't know if it's good. Like, and your opponent needs some monster in there.
Chimera Tech Crush Dragon is a level 9 monster with 2500 attack and 1600 defense, requiring Cyber Dragon and 2 or more machine-type monsters as material. Its continuous effect keeps monsters on your field from being destroyed by spell card effects, and face-up machine-type monsters on your field gain attack equal to the number of monsters used as material for this card's fusion summon times 100.
Excuse me? Face-up machine-type monsters on your field gain attack equal to the number of monsters used as material when fusion summoning this card times 100. What's the attack defense?
So at bare minimum, this is providing a 300 attack boost, which is pretty gnarly. But not only can you sink more material into this to get an even bigger boost, your opponent can...
I think there is base stats. I think it says 2500 attack.
Just drop a spell card that wipes out monsters to take you out. Heck, if you wanted to be a little gremlin, you could play Dark Hole, since Crush doesn't say...
I think it's the screenshot is kind of weird, but I think it says 2500 attack, and I cannot see the defense.
They only protect against your opponent's spell effects. Though, granted, that's also a legend card, which means you couldn't play Power Bond, so, you know, weigh your options. This is a pretty rowdy boss monster if I've ever seen one, and not only because of the effect, but for what's going on in the card itself. It's like they put Cyber Assault, Search, and Stealth Dragon into a big Get Along t-shirt, and they are not happy about it.
Cyber Surveillance Dragon is a level 9 monster with 2100
Oh my
attack
god.
and 2500 defense.
It requires Cyber Search Dragon. Specifically Cyber Search Dragon. Interesting. I can see it, sorry, no, I understand. Wow.
Requiring Cyber Search Dragon and a Cyber Dragon as material. Its effect requires you to change this attack position card to face a defense position, which fusion summons a level 10 machine type monster by shuffling 3 or more Cyber Dragons from your field and or grave into their owner's deck as material. And this turn, the monster special summoned by this effect gains 600 attack. Now, would you believe me if I said that there is currently only a single level 10 machine fusion monster in Rush?
God.
That being Cyber and Dragon. So you make this, and now you have a way to make the biggest creature in the whole theme entirely using your graveyard while giving it a little pick-me-up. Hey.
Oh, so if you summon this, you can get an even stronger Cyber and Dragon. Sure.
It's got piercing. Any extra damage is going to go through, so we might as well enjoy it. But it sure isn't making any friends while doing so. Like, why do you need all that surveillance gear? Cyber Tactical Dragon is a level 9 monster with 3200 attack and 2100 defense, requiring Cyber Assault Dragon and Cyber Dragon as material. Its effect requires you to shuffle 2 light attribute machine type monsters from your grave into the deck, which destroys up to 2 face-up monsters on your opponent's field, whose total attack is less than or equal to this card's attack. And hey, both the fusion materials for this monster are light attribute machine types. How crazy is that? So where Assault checked for monsters bigger than it, Tactical looks for things smaller than it, which means that any effect that amps up the power of Tactical Dragon increases the number of viable targets we can take out.
It's so weird that there's another one that, like, I guess this one is good, but it requires a Cyber Assault Dragon in the first place.
Especially because we have to put those 2 monsters together to make them underneath that 3200 attack limit. We're not exactly taking out 2 boss-sized monsters by themselves. Though, with enough boosts, you might even be able to destroy certain maximum monsters. And wouldn't that be swell? Granted, you're only destroying 1 target instead of 2, but you're destroying a more high-value target, which truly is the more tactical response. Alright, that's all of our monsters, and now it's time for the spells and traps. Cyber Entry is a normal spell card that requires you to have 3 or more light attribute machine type monsters in your grave, and it special summons a Cyber Dragon or Proto Cyber Dragon from your hand or grave face up to your field. At that turn, you can only attack with light attribute machine type monsters. That means you'll have to cool it on the Chimera text, but that's about the only thing to keep in mind. This gets us back some Cyber Dragon names where you need them for fusion summoning, and Cyber Dragon is just generally a good body to be attacking with. And if nothing else, it makes for a great entry point for the archetype.
Oh yeah, you don't know about maximum monsters in Rush Duel? I don't know what that is.
Cyber Rush Fusion is a normal spell card that requires you to have a monster on your field. It fusion summons a monster that lists Cyber Dragon as material by shuffling up to 5 light attribute machine type monsters from your field and or grave into the owner's deck as material. Then, if you have a monster on your field other than the monster special
fusion summon a monster that lists Cyber Dragon as material by shuffling up to 5 light attribute machine monsters from your field and or graveyard into the owner's deck as material. Okay. Then if you have a monster on your field, or then the special summon will destroy all these monsters. Interesting.
Summoned by this effect, destroy all those monsters. So you're incentivized to use the monster you have on the field as material, and you might need to do that to meet the Cyber Dragon requirement for our fusions. But yeah, this card is about as nutty as it gets. A Chimera Tech Crush can benefit from that greatly by using all 5 of those material slots to get really goofy with the attack boost, though it's gonna be much more geared towards working with the new fusions and not our old existing imports.
Maximum monsters are composed of 3 cards, have high attack and levels and powerful effects, but it's the only monster that can only be on the field because it's 3 parts, right? Yeah, I've seen the gadget one. I didn't know that was called like that. I've seen the 3 gadgets. It looks interesting. I don't know how it will, like, you know, how it will play, but yeah.
I don't expect Cyber End Dragon will be summoned off this many times, since you will need to have 3 original Cyber Dragons in rotation. But admittedly, a 5 material Chimera Tech Over Dragon is going to go bonkers. But just make sure you keep your ingredients and requirements in mind. You wouldn't want to mess up the recipe because you were rushing through it.
Wow.
Cyber Variation is a normal spell card that requires you to have 10 or more cards in your deck, and you place a light attribute machine type monster from your field on the bottom of your deck, which draws you 2 cards. But you can only special summon machine type monsters until the end of the turn. Hey, an archetypal draw 2 spell, reminiscent of the classic Cyber Valley. That's kinda neat. I mean, I guess it lets you cycle through cards, maybe get Coatl off the field before it gets trampled, but aside from that, it's just a draw spell. Nothing more, nothing less. Compared to other archetypal draw,
Finally, the Cyber Dragon Pot of Greed.
2 spells, there isn't much variation. Evolution Rush Burst is a normal spell card that requires you to have a level 5 or higher machine monster face up on your field, and to shuffle 5 light attribute machine type monsters from your grave into your deck to destroy 1 card on your opponent's field. That seems like a lot of hoops for a simple effect, but I have to remember that this is Rush. Not only is unconditional removal a powerful rarity, we have plenty of ways to vent a lot of monsters into the grave, so this actually works out pretty swimmingly. And think of the recycling, that's going to be really good for the environment. Not only...
Shut up, dude! What? I like that he does, like, he feels like forced to make a joke for every single card. Like, some jokes are not necessary. Like, I feel like it will have more impact if you just stick to the good jokes. What is... I know I'm laughing at this one, but I'm more laughing at the absurdity of it.
Are you taking out your own trash, you're taking out the trash that is your opponent. So it's environmentally conscious and provides you with some mental warfare. Fun. Multiple Adapter Unit is a normal trap card that you can activate when your opponent normal summons a monster, and you have to send a face-up level 5 or higher machine monster from your field to the grave.
Okay.
The effect changes that summoned monster to face-down defense position, then you can special summon either Cyber Assault Dragon or Cyber Stealth Dragon. Here it is, we've gone full circle with the terrible Cyber Dragon retrains. This is meant to emulate the cards that evolve into Laser or Barrier, but where those were bricky nonsense, this is a Book of Moon that can turbocharge your Cyber Dragons with extra power and effects. Heck, it even uses any level 5 or higher machine monster if any of those get splashed into your deck. And springing a Stealth Dragon on your opponent like that is going to be a big roadblock for them, and will probably require them to at least commit to their battle phase to run over that 2800 defense. Because they ain't using monster effects to get rid of it, that's for sure. And you never have to worry about what plugs you run into while you're traveling. This card can adapt to anything. Alright, that's all the Cyber Dragon cards, but what do we do with them? Well, we're gonna need fusion spells, and we're gonna need Cyber Dragons. So whatever cards we can wrangle up that help with either of those will provide us with the removal and power we need to close out the game. So what can we play to help them out? Thankfully, we've got a few pieces of really nifty machine support that we can lean on. Assault Cannon has a nifty debuff if you've got a field full of machines, and the spell card that bears its image, Barrage of Steel, is a way to get rid of spell and trap cards so you don't have to deal with them when you go into punch face.
What? You have a face-up machine monster in the field, destroy a spell. This is... Destroy one spell card your opponent's field? I assume there is no Mystical Space Typhoon in this thing.
It's a way to get rid of spell and trap cards so you don't have to deal with them when you go into punch face. Joint-Tech Joint may not be able to fusion summon our Cyber Dragon monsters, but it's fair game for our Chimera Techs, and comes with some position-changing shenanigans to take full advantage of their power. For more ways to cycle through your cards, Crafter Drone pitches a machine in your hand to draw you a card, helping you to up your count in the grave while keeping your hand stocked up. But the undisputed champion of doing that is Card Trooper. If you don't mind using the legend slot for it,
oh, that's a legend!
Into your grave to go up to 1900 attack, a stat most 1 tribute monsters would kill for. But here's the real kicker. Card Trooper draws you a card when it's destroyed in battle in the original TCG. Rush Card Trooper can send itself to the graveyard after you do the milling to draw you a card. So not only do you benefit from the draw sooner, it's now in the graveyard to be used as fusion material with Cyber Dragon Rush, so later on you can draw it again and do the whole thing over. As for a silly tech pick, for a deck that banks a lot on punching with big monsters, we lack a lot of piercing options, and I don't like that End Dragon is the only one that gets to have fun with it. So let's spread the love by dipping back into the Joint Tech toolbox with Joint Tech Rush Horn. You can equip it to any face-up machine monster you control, giving it a sweet 300 attack boost, and lets it deal piercing battle damage. Cyber Twin Dragon becomes an absolute truck, to say nothing of Over Dragon, or you can just put it on Crush Dragon to supplement its own attack boost for your field. But no matter how you use this, when this card is in play, your opponent's life points soon will not. And that's all I've got to say about the Rush Cyber Dragon cards. God, my jealousy for Rush continues to grow day by day.
This sounds so cool. I want to give it a try. Like, I actually like interested in it. I don't know if this is good or not because I don't know how it compares to the rest of the game, right? But like, it sounds really cool.
Cyber Rush Fusion fills a much needed gap in the fusion effect roster of Cyber Dragon. Cyber Rush Dragon itself has a killer effect to dig through your deck, and I wouldn't turn my nose up at Crush Dragon's spell protection and board boost. And you can do some nasty things with that by utilizing Overload Fusion. Hopefully we'll get to see some of these cards brought into the core game one of these days, but for now, I'm content with sending even more heinous threats from our game into theirs. I have noticed that Rush likes to make a lot of machine archetypes and, well, it would be a shame if some kind of fortress dragon showed up for a little meet and greet.
It's kinda sad the Rush Duel is only available in Japan and Duel Links. Yeah. I need this in Master Duel. I need this in Master Duel right now. Dude, I will sell my soul to get this in Master Duel. Yeah.
But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Do you think the Rush Cyber Dragons make for a tactical evolution of the theme, or are they not having much of a Cyber Dark impact? And which one's your favorite? Personally, I've got to give it up for Tactical Dragon. This thing looks sick. Let me know your favorite down below, and if you haven't already, please be sure to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Be sure to watch one of my videos in the sidebar to help me show up in your home screen, and be sure to share this video with somebody you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales that even come with their own lore, and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GOLDENNOVA at checkout. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious...
Okay, we're not gonna like read all of those, but chat, Dragon Shield, actually really awesome. I'm not sponsored, but I use it, really cool. I'm sure everyone knows about this. Dude, that was such a cool video. I'm also like super jealous about this, and I want to give it a try because it sounds really awesome. So yeah, let me know if there is more cool archetypes like this that maybe we can watch and see from Rush Duels. I'm really curious. Hopefully we'll get it one day. We'll get it one day. Yeah.